Okay, welcome back guys. Today we're going to get started on a bit more Thaumcraft, and with any luck we'll be able to get a couple screens so we can get started on blood magic and maybe a little bit of Botania if we got time. So first, let's check a few things out here real quick. Or actually rather, I'm going to need some paper. I'm also going to want to upgrade my tools. We'll get that in a moment. Now, as I kind of explained in my smeltery fix video that I should have posted yesterday, or a couple minutes ago if you're on my stream, we did fix the smeltery. We have figured out how to get it working. There was just a limitation with the drains I didn't know about, all fixed. Now to make something, what we need to do is we first need to make a cast for it. And to make a cast, you first need one of the basic parts. Then you come over here, place it down there in the table. I've already made a cast for the ingot, okay, so you can see that. And then we're going to put gold on the bottom. And voila. We do lose the part that we put in there. That's something they borrowed from Iguana's tweaks. They seem to be borrowing a lot. But, on the other hand, it does make a certain amount of sense. So, we now have our pickaxe head. We're going to go back over here, put in gold, or sorry, iron, because gold does not make any parts. This does take a bit of time, unfortunately. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. Part times now cost twice as, or parts now cost twice as much as they used to. So we gotta heat up a bit more iron than just the one block I had in there. While that's heating up, something else I forgot to mention. We do have a mod in here called inventory. I'm sorry, I forgot what it was, but it was like inventory sorting. And basically, right mouse clicking sorts your inventory for you, which makes this a lot easier. I'm still thinking about going into that other inventory mod just because it will be useful, but we no longer have as big a need for it. And let's break these down. I'm thinking once we get a little bit more settled, I'm going to automate the smeltery drain stuff, since we don't need to worry about gold or iron smelting, and it's unlikely we're going to get very much of the other alloys. We'll just be able to pour stuff straight out. Now, like in Tinkers, in Iguana Tweaks, we can now switch out heads. So before this had cheap and ecological because it had a stone binding and pickaxe. Now it will only have the binding, but it now has magnetic instead. So that will be more durable, it can punch through more things, and we'll be able to do it faster. I'm not sure if you guys actually saw the stats on that or not. But that brought up something else that I discovered about the new ones. As far as the coding goes, keep in mind this could change depending on how the mod author does it. But apparently every so many uses or something like that, the tool actually increases stats. It will gain a little bit of durability, mining speed, or damage depending on the tool. That's the reason why we now have 2.12 attack damage. It's actually been upgrading itself, a lot like the Iguana Tweaks gave experience. Now they get random stats. That we found out that because the Tinker's parts here all have different stats and traits. One of them being which one was it? It was the Endstone one. There we are. The Endstone has alien, and we're not entirely sure we fully understand that one yet, but from what we can tell, the alien one seems to gain stats more commonly, or something along those lines. It affects the stat gains. That's the reason why we know about it. But the ecological gives you splinters occasionally. Supposedly the splinters do pierce armor and do damage, but that just seems to depend on the damage of the item. So my little pickaxe here doing 2.2 doesn't do enough damage for me to really notice it. But I'm guessing if you have a higher stat item like a cleaver or a sword, yeah, that will hurt. So we might want to change that. Unfortunately, I don't know which one to change it to. Prickly also does damage. That ignores armor. And if it's inside of a tool, it still hurts the user when used. But if it's used to attack a mob, it does the armor piercing damage to the mob instead. So that might be decent on a sword. Splintering. Let's see here. Splintering. Helps if I had this list up. Splintering has a chance of basically it puts a stacking debuff on the enemy, and when the enemy gets hit, it gets hit for extra damage. Dorius, yeah, I'm not even gonna. I think that's Doritos, maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably a play on the chips. But from what we can tell in the coding, that has a 50% chance to do nothing, a 10% chance to use 2 times the durability it normally use, and a 40% chance to use no durability. On average, that actually means you got about a 70% durability bonus. Or, correction, 70% durability use, which is about the same as Reinforce 3. So 1 part makes Reinforce 3. The only problem with that, need to click back in here. The only problem with that is it's a really, really sucky handle. So, I don't know, maybe we'll make the handle out of stone or something. No, that's even worse. We'll figure out something to make into stone instead of the wood, but we'll have to figure that out later. King Slime may not be a bad one. The Slime Tool Rod would be a good one, either one of them, particularly the blue one in this case. But Slimy has a 1 in 300 chance of spawning a slime whenever you use it. So you go down mine a long tunnel, you're going to get flooded with slimes. There's a couple more I found interesting. Pig iron is an interesting one. Basically, that says when your food bar is less than half and you have more than, it says here, your food bar is less than half and you have more than 3 bars, you have a 1 in 500 chance of eating your tool. If you have less than 3 bars, then the chance increases as your food and saturation decrease. You can only eat your tool while holding it, and the chance this happens every tick. Eating your tool means the tool loses 100 durability and restores 1 bar of hunger. Also makes a nom sound. Nom 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 nom. When breaking a block, there is a 1 in 200 chance of getting bacon. When killing a mob with it, though, there's a 1 in 20 chance of getting bacon. So, something interesting there. Might be useful on a sword or something like that. Not sure, can I? Nope, no uses. So it looks like bacon's just eating raw for whatever reason. The other one I found interesting was the, let's see here. The nether rock one, which is Aeroductus, and basically biomes have a certain degree of chance for rain or moisture. For example, this area over here has more moisture than the savanna, which has more moisture than the desert. Meanwhile, if you're in a swamp or something like that, you're probably going to get a lot more moisture. Aeroductus basically says that you gain more mining speed the drier the climate is. On the other hand, which one was it? There it is. Aquadynamic. When used underwater, breaks at the normal speed as though you were using it on land. You no longer get slowed down. So you effectively got water affinity. On top of that, when it's raining, it increases the speed based on the amount of rain. So if you get a normal light rain, you get a speed bonus. If you get a thunderstorm, you get a pretty big bonus. And that seems to be no matter what. Looks like the FTB player HUD got a small update too that I didn't notice. So that will be enough of that for now. Why don't we get started on some Thaumcraft? YouTube, I'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, YouTube, bringing you back for just a moment while I shared a small discovery with you. Checking the update from, or checking the Thaumonomicon for research, I forgot that Thaumcraft got an update too. Unfortunately, I can't really tell what, but apparently all of my research that I had before, including some things that I were given to me from the start, I no longer have. We also now have Thaumic Infusion as well, so that's a one focus we'll need to get later. But yeah, it looks like there's going to be quite a bit of discovery later. And why can't I not? Okay, YouTube, welcome back. I think I fixed the problem. It looks like our research has been reset, so I will have to go through and get a couple of things, but you know, that's just a matter of using some paper and you know, a little bit of ink. No biggie. How did I fix this? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. However, I think it had something to do with the thermometer, which is actually one of the first things I was wanting to get started with today. So, do we need the thermometer for Thaumcraft? I would normally say no, and that was until I just saw that glitch there a moment ago. So, definite maybe. And I'm short of really the same, but we'll deal with that later. For now, put a little bit of sand in here. Now the thermometer creation really hasn't changed. It's basically 2 gold and 2 shards of any sort, I don't even think it needs to be in the the arcane crafting table, but I'm just doing that because, as my stream can tell you, I've already been having enough derps as it is. Okay, you see the item there? That means it's ready to charge. There is no symbols around the outside, so we do not need the wand or the arcane table for it. Now, what does the thermometer do? Well, it does two things, really. One, it allows you to scan things. Now, we do know the aspects of everything already, except for the cast, because it doesn't have. It's a modded item. It doesn't have a aspect. Same applies with the Botania flowers, and probably the Baggins bag. Oh, actually, the Baggins bag does have it. That's kind of surprising. Some mods will, some mods won't. Depends on the pack. What does the thermometer do, though? Well, basically, one of the important things that you'll see is in the top left. That shows you how much aspect is in that particular chunk. Unfortunately, we don't have not enough items on, so I can't show you chunk boundaries. But if you wander from chunk to chunk, yeah, I see right there, the aspects change. There must be a powerful auto and entropy in this one, whereas this one is closer to fire, air, and water. It also allows you to see the nodes, but you have to be a lot closer to it than what it was before. Now, the reason this is important is, remember, your wand draws energy whenever you're holding it, which helps if I'm holding it. I didn't mention all the derps. There it goes. So this is fully charged right now, but if it was not, then these meters would be decreasing and increasing respectively. And as I understand it, since this has a strong ordo and entropy node over here, if I had sucked ordo and entropy from the node over here, then that chunk would start refilling this chunk. It's kind of think of it like waves in water. It ebbs, flows, so on and so forth. The other thing it allows you to do is it allows you to scan things. I already scanned the stone because that's what I was trying to do to fix the Thaumanomicon. But if you can scan something, you will see little like question marks around it. And it says I now gain a practical knowledge of Lux. What it means by practical knowledge, I don't know. Didn't mean to sleep there, but oh well. If you right-click on something that has another feature, you won't scan it. Instead, hold Shift and right-click. And I can't learn anything new from that yet. Okay, I got quite a bit of stuff from that. Yeah. So, like I said, anything you have not learned yet should show a couple of question marks. There you go. Ignis and Perdido. Got some metallum from this one for whatever reason. I got some virtuous from the glass, so on and so forth. You will have remembered me telling you that, well, correction, I hope you remember me telling you that there are some things that are hidden. That's where this comes in. Right now, it says we had 0 out of information. When we did the research knowledge, it said we had 33%. When we got research mastery, we were up to 66%. That means there's one item around here that is currently hidden. Now I'll zoom out to show you that we can't see it. But once we scan the right item, it will appear here. Something else I wanted to point out to you guys, something I missed with the upgrade notice, or correction, update notice. We now have Thaumic Infusion installed as well. And Thaumic Infusion has very little research. I think this is like basically the only thing, and it's a wand focus. but it's a pretty complicated one from what I understand. We'll get into that more later. For now, it's a small game of scan all the things and do a bit of research to get caught up. So I will talk to you two here shortly once we get that taken care of. Why are you not burning up? There you go. Okay, YouTube. Right there, I just scanned some bones and I just discovered something that could aid in future research. So let's take a look here. Still nothing here. I'm guessing that's probably on the Artifice tab. No? Huh. Well, I guess future research means I don't have the pre-requirements for it yet, which, considering I haven't done any research yet, makes a certain amount of sense. So I guess I'll be back shortly. Okay, welcome back, YouTube. Obviously, I'm not back in the cave doing research because I completed what I wanted to do, and I wanted to get a couple more projects ready for when you guys came back. So here I am back at the shrine with the thermometer, and something I wanted to show off is, well, this thing isn't guarded, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, there's usually a node like right here, and there's no node here. Otherwise I'd be able to see it with my thermometer, and I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. But something did happen. I researched infusion, and when I scanned one of these items, I think it was this one right here, it gave me some more notes about it. So we'll have to see what that says in a moment. But I did find another node, and I got a couple of projects ready for us. So why don't we head back into the base. Oh yeah, I also got the last couple of string I need to for spider hunting for blood magic. Almost died in the process because all the spiders were surrounded by creepers, but you know, some sacrifice. Now you see here, when holding something mundane like a spider eye, my pickaxe, meat, even my wand, there's nothing here. But if I hold out my thermometer and look at it just right, there is a ordo node. As you look on the right or on the left there with the little meter, all that ordo that's on that scale is probably coming from this node. So if my thermometer was empty, it would start draining from this node, and it would actually start causing flux, which, yes, can be shown on this meter. So what have I done? I've gotten a couple things ready for us. So I want to complete about 2 or 3 projects right now, and then we'll get going on some actually doing something in Thaumcraft. But first, I want to make a wide guard pattern out of cactus. I believe there's... Oh, it only takes 1 cactus. Nice. I believe there's 2 guard patterns. Nope, I guess there's only 1 right now. There used to be 4. But the wide guard pattern is used to make a normal sword. And we'll take the gold here. Oops. Huh. I poured a little bit of gold on that earlier. Apparently it takes 2 gold now to grab 3. Apparently it takes 2 gold now to make a cast, but apparently when I walked outside of load range, it must have forgot it had that gold in there, which is kind of annoying. But we'll use the other gold, and as you can see, I made myself a great wood wand. That's just real simple. You just put it in a table in a diagonal direction, and this is a symbol that says it actually needs to be on the arcane table, and it needs essentia from your wand. If you don't have a wand there, it will blink. Now notice that says 24. If I add this in there, it's now 26.4. That's because the iron caps cost me an extra 10%. So I already made one of those. The other thing I want to make is the gold one caps. And you can see that requires a bit more mana, or sorry, that requires a bit more viz to make. But we get that and that. And now we don't have enough because the capacity is lower. But tell you what, if I put this here, we can now see these lowering and gaining because my wand is now on my hotbar and charging. So back to full, and that will give us a wand of 250. Luckily we don't have any flux yet, but let's see how bad this hurts. By the way, I also found out there seems to be a bug if I use my mouse wheel to move stake to my hotbar. For some reason, it crashes the entire game. It happened to me twice. So, going to try to avoid that. I'm sure the Twitch viewers are more than tired of seeing my loading screens. They've seen it, what, 3 times now? So, now that we got the gold ready, the other thing I noticed is for some reason these casts do not go into the stencil table like they used to, which is a little bit of annoying, but we'll live. I think I'm going to need to make that inventory chest thing next because I'm really running low on inventory space. Yeah, there must. Oh, we don't have a guard for the long sword anymore. Right now we have 2 different swords: the long guard and the wide sword, or sorry, the long sword and the broadsword. Obviously, the descriptions are a little bit messed up right now, but the broadsword, the one we want, is just the same as it used to, as the vanilla sword. The long sword, if it stayed the same, instead of blocking, allows you to charge up a kind of running jump at the enemy that does extra damage. Now let's see here. Got that, got the wand. Is the wand filled up yet? That's pretty close. And you can still see how all the biz is still moving around because of that. I'm kind of surprised. I was expecting a little bit of tank to build up by now. Oh well. I'm not going to complain. So let's see here. Did I just try to eat that spider eye? Let's not do that. One other thing is I scanned the arrow and that gave me research notes too. Let's see, does the bow? Yes, the bow did. So, that's interesting. Really need to fix the inventory situation. So let's take a look at what we discovered. I went through and did everything we did in the past. Oh, this is probably that new page that was added from that shrine. I went through and did everything we did from the past. We finally managed to open up this one. I think we got that when we opened up Infusion. This means that we're now 100% done on this page. You made a couple discoveries. Was given to you with the ability to turn Viz shards into plantable Viz crystal on stone. What is more, you can now pluck that single shard from a crystal growth without breaking it all. Simply right-click with your wand. If you remember correctly, we've been seeing shards around. They develop in areas that have a high amount of Viz. They're kind of like batteries. When an area has an excessive amount of viz, shards develop. When I start taking viz away from an area, the shards will eventually disappear because they're being drawn back into the air. But we can't really break those. Anyway, we tried, even with Silk Touch, it would just break and it would give us 2 to 4, excuse me. Now we can actually grow them, but that requires seeds, some Salus Mundus, which is always kind of a pain to get, and a shard. And yes, you saw that right, there was a tainted shard in there too. Tainted viz is a thing, and it does develop in areas where the taint is growing. So if we wanted to, we could start growing our own tainted viz if we, found an area with a tainted node. Let's go back to thaumaturgy, because I unlocked the bronze and the great wood caps. The only other thing we unlocked in this category was the bronze wood caps. Like gold, wands capped with this material take no penalty with channeling viz. More importantly, in fact, is this viz can draw faster from ore nodes easier than normal, allowing the wands they place to charge faster. You already saw how fast my wands are charging, so that just means there's another speed boost involved. Alchemy we did a lot of work in, so I'm going to skip that for a moment. I think the only thing we did in this one here, like at all, was get the infusion recipe. But you will notice that we now have the brain in the jar, which showed up, and that's forbidden moderate, so that's actually going to give me quite a bit of I'm sorry, what was it called? That's going to give me quite a bit of warp or insanity. And we also have the infernal furnace, which is also a minor. I actually like the infernal furnace, but the other furnace mod might actually beat it out for this mod pack. We'll have to see. But infusion, arcane crafting, and alchemy. Arcane crafting, meaning the table, and alchemy, meaning our crucible, which we haven't done yet, can only go so far. Something better is needed to create truly powerful magical objects. Infernal infusion crafting is the process of infusing a single object with magical energy and properties from other objects. For example, you could infuse a stone with air viz and a feather, and that results in a very light stone. As usual with thaumaturgy, things are not usually that simple. To even get started with infusion crafting, you need to get an infusion matrix, some arcane pedestals, and a supply of magic in the form of essentia. We haven't really done with essentia yet, but we'll explain that here very short-like. Okay, so we need arcane stone bricks. We need the runic matrix is the main capacity here. Keep in mind, this would requires 100 ordo to jumpstart. All you have to do is get the runic matrix, set it up right, and then click on it with a wand. But whatever wand that is has to be full. Now, your wooden wand has enough capacity for 100 ordo in it. But you got to remember, your basic wand has the iron caps, and they have a 10% penalty. So you would actually need 110, so your basic wand would not be able to do this. You could use a wooden shaft with gold caps, and that would work. But I just found it easier just to get the gold wood and the gold caps and, go straight for the next step of upgrade. I probably could have used the bronze caps, actually, or the brass caps, but yeah. And those are the arcane pedestals. Those are used to set items on it. Once you have your yada yada yada, the central pedestal right beneath the matrix is where we put the stuff to infuse things. Then we put the other stuff on the pedestal surrounding it. Next we need the water jars of essentia, which again we haven't got to yet, we'll get there. all around it. I think it has a range of like 16 blocks or something like that. I might be off. But we don't need the essentia in order to start the matrix. We just need the pedestals in the right area. But infusion crafting is not without risk. The entire process involves forcing various energies into a single object. Unpredictable things are bound to happen. What that means is some... It's easier to show, but once you have things balanced, it becomes fairly stable. If things are not balanced, meaning you have too many things on one side, or maybe you have some recipes are inherently not balanced, and others are just harder to infuse. All these things can cause different phenomenon to occur. For example, you could potentially get struck by lightning. That hurts. Other times, materials are randomly knocked off their pedestal, or in worst cases, sometimes just destroyed outright. I believe there are other things too, but those are the three main ones. Usually with one of the fusion objects gets knocked off the pedestal, yada yada yada, flux gets generated, that's new. But more catastrophic events are not unheard of. Longer crafting continues to draw unresolved problems, like the lack of these or dropped items, the greater chance of something happening. This process is reduced by various means. First of all, you may wish to keep the entire structure symmetric as possible. Like I said, you want to keep things balanced. You can also place occult paraphernalia around the altar and symmetrical formations. Things like candles, skulls, crystals, these will all have an effect on reducing the instability. Now see down here they have a picture of it already. We'll show you how to form it later. But you got the pedestals on opposite sides in symmetric pattern. You got the candles on the corners in symmetric patterns. I don't think you need this correction. I know you don't need stone block beneath them, but they might help. I'm not sure. But again, you want to try to keep everything as symmetric as possible. Eldritch stone. This must be the thing we discovered. The dark eldritch stone you have discovered has some strange properties. When used to craft the infusion altar's pillars, it will help to reduce the instability and speed up the crafting process by a moderate amount. It has the unfortunate, it will unfortunately increase crafting costs slightly. Should you happen to across any pedestals made of the same material, it will have much the same effect. Caution should be taken to carefully balance them, however, as the imbalanced other pedestals will massively increase your instability. I'm not sure how much it means by that increased cost slightly, but we'll have to see about that. Eldritch stone, Eldritch pedestal. Wow, that's expensive. That's 150 Patricio right there, and 125 Ordo, so we're definitely going to do that with the basic wand. So I think that's saying I should go over there and tear apart that shrine. But that's all we had for infusion. Now we'll get to alchemy. We've already discovered 51% of this, which is kind of nice. Oh, this is the one we must have discovered with the bow, and I scanned some arrows earlier, so that must have unlocked that one. So yeah, things keep on reappearing. Only 3% done on that one. Only 18% there, but we are 51% done on this one. Yeah, that's a lot of stars. I'm going to get a drink because I have a feeling my mouth is going to go dry before we finish this. Okay. I kind of went over with you the basics of alchemy before. Basically, I created a cauldron from Minecraft, the ones that you use for, well, correction. the one which is used for brewing. You can use it. I don't know many people who do. But to make a cauldron, it's pretty basic. This doesn't have to be an arcane table. Just, you know, a U of iron, and you stick it down somewhere. And just like when you made your Thaumcraft, you tap it with a wand. Simple. So this is a cauldron. Right now, it's not going to do us any good. What we need to do is we need to fill it full of water, and I think you need a heat source under it. Correction, I know you need a heat source under it. I'm not sure whether or not a torch will be enough, but you could use netherrack, maybe a torch, and you can definitely use lava. Okay, so that's set up. Next thing you're going to want to do is you want to grab a bucket of water. Actually, I'm going to want to grab 2. You're going to need a lot of water for this process because each time you make something it requires a little bit. So I'm going to grab 2 buckets of lava or water and make an infinite water source. Our iron pick should be drawing this stuff to us, but unfortunately it appears not. Maybe now I'm close enough? Nope, guess not. Okay. I don't want to break that block because then I'm going to have obsidian underneath that crucible, which might be a minor design flaw I should have thought of beforehand, but this seems to be the episode of derps, so yeah. By the way, I did find out a good use for all that the stone I don't like. Turns out all of it does have essentia in it. Unfortunately, essentia we usually have a ton of anyway, but hey, it's a use. And it starts raining again. I don't know, I know the YouTube hasn't seen it, but I'm not sure if the Twitch viewers have noticed. This is like the 5th time it's rained. Yeah. Okay. By the way, YouTubers, we also have this ready. This is the rudimentary snare. That's the first step in starting blood magic. And since it's raining out, I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to be able to use them shortly. But we need to throw it at a monster and then kill them, which is where our sword is going to come in handy. So we'll get that ready. And now that we have our 2x2, hello, it would appear we can learn something from our cauldron. We have discovered aqua. Why have I not discovered that already? Okay, whatever. So, in order to get the cauldron ready, you need to have a heat source underneath of it. You need to have the cauldron, the Thaumcraft cauldron, or sorry, crucible. Crucible, that's it. Then you put water in it. And when it starts to bubble like this, that's when you know it's ready to go. But we will... Not really sure there's anything I can make at the moment. You could use niter as a heat source too. That's actually one of the safer ones because you don't have a chance of catching anything on fire. But unfortunately we need glowstone for that. I don't know any way of making it. So we will need to go to the nether, one way or the other shortly. So, let's get to essentia distillation. Actually, let's not. first, let's grab one of these. And something with fire. Huh. Oh, that's why. Okay. Yeah, it was showing me all sorts of different essentia on that one, but I'm pretty sure that was because fire and energy. I'm pretty sure it was showing me all that because I was hovering over something in the background, and that's where I was getting the overlay from. Boy, that's going to be a lot, but okay. Okay, so the way this works is to make magic tallow. Actually, let's try to reduce this a little bit. Grab about 4 of these. To make magic tallow, we need a cauldron, and we need to throw in 1 ignis per rotten flesh. That will give us 1 tallow per flesh. So what I'll do is I'll take this blaze powder, which is 4 ignis, and notice the 2 potentia there. That's going to be important here in a minute. So, boom, and boom. Well, maybe not so much boom. There we go. So I got the 4 magic tallow. Notice how that had changed dramatically from the stuff that was there before. Also notice that the crucible is now slightly drained. It used to be that every time you crafted something, I think it took up all the water, but now, yeah, see that purple stuff? That's actually flux that's going into the air because of that potentia that was in there. So yeah, you want to be kind of careful when doing that. I just did 4 of these in a blaze powder just to show that, but that potentia was just wasted. In fact, it actually hurt us.